Hey, it's your boy DJ Wolf here. Got a couple things on my mind. Someone put a podcast up recently about should black men start mentoring younger black men from single mothers. I have mixed feelings about that. I'm not saying that you shouldn't. I think it's encouraged. But here's the thing for me. Not only should young black men be mentored, or younger black men and black boys be mentored by black men, of course. But black women, young black women and young girls should be mentored by black women. And I ain't talking about just any black woman. I'm talking about black women who are about that positive light. It's about making changes and assisting them with making changes in their lives for the better. Instead of going around getting with boys and having babies all the time. We got to change that. I'm telling you right now, that's the one thing we got to change. Not saying that young women shouldn't have kids at some point. But what I'm saying is to call yourself breeding instant families. That's what the problem is. And people don't want to address that issue. They don't want to address the 800-pound elephant in the room that's been there forever and a day. It goes all the way back to slavery, when they were trying to get black women to breed kids. That's been a big issue for years. But we don't want to address that issue. Now, mentoring young black men and young boys, yeah, I totally agree with that. But it all depends on the mama. The mama guardians of the child should allow men to do it, but they have to be men of standard, not just any kind of guys. And women, black women should be able to mentor young girls and young women into the positive, because we got too many, like I say, there's too many of them out there that's out there wilding and stuff. But then you got the mamas got to be able to be mentored on some level too, where they will be in turn encouraged to mentor the kids and raise the kids the right way, to train them to be proper young men and women. But in order to change that, you got to change the environment around them as well. Because unless you change that environment, they're going to always stay the same. They're going to always be complacent to where they're at. Why is it making bright lights out here this morning, man? Jesus. And until you can change that, that's going to be a problem in itself. The biggest issue is our communities, man, are not developing economically like it's supposed to, and that's why you got all these issues. Excuse me. Back in the day, when jobs were plentiful, when businesses were running all over the place, man, where kids were able to get jobs as well as adults, you didn't have the issues you got now. When you got economic despair in our communities, man, that's what actually keeps people from developing a better mindset and in general growing. You can't grow if there's nothing there to develop on growing from. When you don't have economic growth, you're on desperate times. And you know what they say, desperate times call for desperate measures. And that's what causes all of that conflict. It's funny, though, that they don't have any problems gentrifying neighborhoods where they want to push black people out and bring white people in. And that's been going on. It's ongoing now. It's going on in D.C. It's going on in my hometown, Cleveland, and several cities all across the country. Now, here, for example, National Harbor. Now, don't get me wrong. I like National Harbor. My wife is not thrilled about it. That area where they got National Harbor, and then they got the casino, and then they got the the big shopping center, all in the same area, Oxon Hill. And they're building, but there's no, there's nothing coming down where it's spurring more jobs other than the jobs that are there. Matter of fact, there was a noted report on the news media where over half those jobs were given to people over at National Harbor Casino, the MGM, were from people who are out of town. In other words, people who already had experience. And they said, well, we want to hire people from residents. They didn't hire a lot of people from residents to do those jobs. They hired a lot of people from out of town with experience to work at those casinos, in that casino. I've heard that. And if you go to a lot of the places around National Harbor, there's not a lot of black people working those areas around there. It's not. I stayed at the Gaylord. I stayed at the Westin. I've been over to the casinos. The majority of people that work at those places over there are white. Well, or not black. Let's put it like that. So, that's a prime example. Downtown Cleveland, man, oh my God, is vibrant. It's the most vibrant I've ever seen it in all my life. And I lived there 21 years. I grew up there. And the rest of the city is just, I mean, for lack of a better word, the rest of the communities around the city of Cleveland now is just dead. There's no life. I'm telling you, it's like there's no life there. And I don't mean it's not that people don't live there. It's not that people aren't breathing and living there. It's not that people don't live and breathe there and work there, but it's just that the community is falling on such hard times, man. There's no businesses thriving. There's no cars going around. You don't see a lot of activity. Now, I was there last year. And this is no joke. I was there last year on Good Friday. My wife and I went up there. I think we stayed 4 days. I think it was 4 days. Yeah, because we were actually, I think it was Thursday. Yeah, we stayed Thursday, Friday, Saturday, something like that. It was dead. It was dead. There was nothing going on there. Nothing going on there at all. Nothing. It was just, I mean, this is a Friday. Thursday and Fridays in Cleveland used to be thriving over back in the day. Now it's like there's almost no traffic that goes around them that drives around there much anymore. Because a lot of people moved out the neighborhoods. A lot of the community businesses moved out or closed up or dried up. Can't make any money there because there's nobody that have money to buy things over there anymore. You know? They put the economic focus on downtown. You know? But what tripped me out is this stupid ass mayor and his logic. Mayor Frank Jackson, who I do not like. You know, my dad supposedly, my dad said he knows him. And I want to talk about that. Next time you talk to Frank Jackson, get in his ass. You know, because he ain't, you know, honestly, he is probably one of the lamest mayors I've ever seen in my life. I'm not kidding. And his logic about why there aren't the communities aren't building, and he said this. I wish I had the audio of it. I'm trying to see if I can get it. He basically just said, well, when downtown's thriving, everywhere else will thrive. That was his lame fucking statement. Now, this son of a bitch know goddamn well that if it's thriving downtown, guess where the fucking money gonna stay? Right downtown. There's developments downtown all over the place. That's like National Harbor. National Harbor, they may develop roads near National Harbor to make it easier for people to get around there, but the money is right in National Harbor. Trust me, I know. That money ain't going nowhere but in National Harbor. Okay? It ain't going out to developing communities like Oxon Hill and Temple Hills like that. I ain't seen it. You know? They're not bringing economic development to the other communities around there. It's just around National Harbor. You know? But this mayor had the goal to say that shit. I mean, I don't know. I don't remember when the video was from. I think it might have been from about a year or two ago. But I was offended when he said that. I really was. I mean, this is a guy who didn't even fight for justice in the city for victims of police brutality, like Tamir Rice over on the west side of Cleveland, or the two people who got chased after by 50 some odd cops all the way over to my side of town and were shot to death multiple times to the tune of 113 rounds or something like that. You know, Jackson's not about that bullshit. He ain't no different from any other mayor in the country. Matter of fact, he's even worse in some cases. You know, you got people who talk, and then you got people who stand up. And I yet really haven't seen too many people who stand up. He's definitely not one of them. For him to sit there and say, well, when economic builds up, downtown's going to build up everywhere else. Why he tell that lie? Now, trust me, I'm somebody who lived in Glenville. I grew up in Glenville. I grew up in Glenville and I grew up in Woodland area. All right? Now, I ain't been around Woodland area too much the last several years. And I know Woodland always been kind of like a mixed bag. Glenville was a thriving community at one time. It ain't the same community anymore. Trust me on that. It's not. Neither is Collinwood. I've lived over there too. So, and for this dude to make that statement, and I got family there, trust me, what I know and what I've seen is obviously either Frank Jackson has blinders on, which I'm pretty sure he does, or he's just bullshitting people like every other politician has been doing all my life. And he knows what the deal is. I know he's from the community, but he had got to a point of a higher office where now he's just an overseer and people are telling him what to say. And he's just following what they're telling him. That's all he's doing. He's just following what they're telling him. He's not a leader as a mayor like I thought he would be, which I realize he's not. He ain't about shit. Look what they were talking about LeBron bringing back the championship. LeBron's thing was to bring back the trophy to the city. And they, many people rode on the coattails of LeBron bringing economic development back. He did. For downtown. The downtown bothered to try to get in downtown in the city hall, try to push economic development for the rest of the city. No, they did not. They did not. That's the really fucked up part about it. I was a big supporter about stuff that they would do in Cleveland for the city and for the people. I was a big supporter of Rock and Roll Hall of Fame when I was a kid. They talked about Rock and Roll Hall of Fame back in 1975. Okay? They've been talking about that. It took them almost 20 years to get it pushed out through. And they finally got it up. You know. But for the most part, there was no economic turnaround for the city of Cleveland. Just like National Harbor's not an economic turnaround for out here in Prince George's County. You know. Now, Prince George's County was kind of thriving a little bit without National Harbor anyway. But has to develop any overturn as far as economic development for people who live out in the immediate area of Oxon Hill and surrounding areas over there? Not really. You know, not that I've seen. And lies the problem. And lies the problem that people talk and don't do. It's more of a talking loud, saying nothing, like James Brown would say. You know, people talk a good game when they talk about, oh, well, we're going to economically do this. They did economically a damn thing. They did economically do shit. We economically just talk the talk and don't walk the walk. Blah, 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 blah. That's it. That's all we do. And not much else. Not much else at all. just talk the talk and lack to walk the walk. No real economic development. No real turnaround for jobs there. In other words, people got to start building. And one of the things I think that hurt us when we had the chance to build, people were too busy trying to live it up back in the 70s, man. When people, black people, I tell you, and this I say for myself too. People were buying big cars. I knew several neighbors, including my father, that turned around bought big cars. That's what they said. When I get to the city, I'm gonna buy me a big old car, and that's what a lot of them did. Did they pull the resources together and build? No, no one did that. No one did that. All everybody did was talk. All everybody did around there was talk. Talk. Nothing else. Y'all think jobs gonna be around there forever. The unions came in and suckered y'all into thinking, oh yeah, we're gonna do something for the people. We're gonna get y'all more money and more money and more money. Meanwhile, you don't build. The big corporations decide, we want to get greedy, cut your wages, and we're going to move those jobs overseas, which is exactly what they did. And you got burnt. But I saw myself and my sister eventually. We saw the writings on the wall. We left. So I ain't going back. I said I'll go visit. That's my home state. That's where I grew up at. Some people think I sold out because I left. And you know what? I don't give a fuck what you think. All I know is I wasn't, going to be in a city where I couldn't thrive. I just couldn't do it. I saw that writing on the wall back in 84, 85. I said, no, I'm not doing this, man. Nope. So roughly 2.5 years after I graduated, I left. So I'm not doing this. I couldn't. Lord knows I couldn't. I could not. I could not imagine myself, being in an environment that I couldn't grow. I could no longer grow in the city I love. I could no longer grow. It was just, it economically was not advantageous for me anymore. It no longer was. And I had tons of family there, Still got family there. Some left, some passed on, But I still got family there. And trust me, I know for a fact that Cleveland is not once the Thrive City it once was. People don't even shop downtown. Man, well, there are people who shop downtown. Unless you live downtown, you don't shop down there. And there's some people who don't live down there and shop down there. But a lot of the people in the inner city of Cleveland don't shop down in Cleveland no more downtown. They go to the suburbs. Yeah. The thriving suburbs. East Cleveland really should have been a very thriving suburb. It had everything there. It had all the resources, everything there where it was thriving at one time. And now it's done. It's done. It's really sad, man. I hate to see that, man. To me personally, it is very heartbreaking. It is. I used to want to talk about wanting to move there at one point. My brother lived there for a number of years. I have to talk about it. It's like I said, sometimes when I think about stuff that's on my mind, especially heavy like that, I have to get it out of my system. I have to. I can't just let it bottle up. See, this is the kind of stuff that the media never really goes on to talk about much. And this is the stuff that politicians don't talk about. Politicians, their main thing is to make money. They're not about helping people. If they can help people by making money, that's what they do. And I ain't talking about just a salary, because look at Obama. He had some great ideas, but did he act upon great ideas that should have taken place for economic development for African Americans? No, he did not. He never talked about it. 8 years he was around. Never talked about it. Ever. And wouldn't. Ever. You know why he didn't? Oh, damn. What that do? Come on, fool. Some people, I tell you. You know why he didn't? He wasn't about that business. He really wasn't. He wasn't about that. He definitely wasn't about it for his people. You know.
I didn't understand what you said.
Oh, shut up. He wasn't. Hold on a second. He wasn't about that for his people. Wasn't about to be about that for his people. Because really, to be honest, the majority of people that voted for Obama wasn't. It was a lot of black people that voted for him, but not as many as you thought. You know, a lot of white people were responsible for getting him in office. Let's be real about that. Black people don't vote like they used to, man. And I know they ain't doing it now. And they probably won't do it in this midterms either. Oh God, why y'all do this mess, man? Can't get over for nothing. And they ain't trying to let you over it. But I'm doing it anyway. Come on, man. Damn. I'm gonna sit right there and there we go. Fuck you too. I gotta fight this traffic every day out here, man. But I take my time getting out here. Obama wasn't about that for blacks either. Obama was about his legacy. And that's, you know, I heard it in a speech, and you probably heard it already. He didn't help the Democrats in that speech. He said, "You really care about my legacy, you vote for Hillary Clinton." It was about his legacy. Now, I was thinking about, saying, what kind of arrogant motherfucker would say that shit? But him. He actually said that. If we care about his legacy, not that he cared about the legacy of the future of African American children, because he didn't. He cared about his legacy and his family only. His legacy is the only thing that matters. Yeah. And you know, I'm like, if I care about his legacy, he didn't give a fuck about the future of young black America's legacy, but he gives a fuck about his. He wants you to care about it. Really? Really, nigga? Really? Really? You know, yeah. His legacy mattered more than anybody else's. That's what's really fucked up. Obama. As soon as you got office, what you do? You went to hang out with Branson out in his island, in the Bahamas, or wherever it was. One island, cooling out. Yeah, racing on jet skis and shit. Whatever y'all doing, but they were hanging out, hanging out. That's what Obama did. I said, this motherfucker here. Does he get involved with a community organizing anymore? No. Not even close. He's a phony, man. Just like every other politician. And I had I was so hoping that it was not going to be like that. We didn't know what was going to go down. But I was so hoping that that wasn't going to be the case. You know? I was so hoping that wasn't going to be the case. But white people reared his ugly head and showed you that it doesn't matter how black he is, no matter how much power he got, we can still control it, and we still control y'all. That's what it was about. It was really a slap in our face. What are you doing? It was really a slap in our fucking face. That's what this was. What the whole thing was about. A slap in a goddamn face. You know? We don't control shit in this country. You know, look, Eric Holder had one of the highest positions in the land. You know, he could have investigated two well-known cases of racism in this country. You know, the murders of Trayvon Martin and Mike Brown. And he didn't do dick. He didn't do a damn thing. black people on the radio, oh yeah, let them do the thing. Give them a chance to do what they gotta do. What did they do? They didn't do nothing. Just lip service. That's all they did. Lip service. For the white man. I mean, let's be honest. That's what they did. Complete lip service. You know? And I hate to say it. I don't trust politicians anymore. I don't trust any of them. Black, white, pink, blue, green stars. I don't trust none of them. They've never been for us. They never will be for us. You know? Well, people don't want you to talk about that. I'm talking about it, goddammit. That's the truth. You know? The media wants to control their side of the story. They don't want to hear your side of the story. They don't. They don't want to hear our real, true opinions about our true feelings about how we feel. Thank God for social media. Social media is the best thing that ever happened to us. I just wish we used it more wisely instead of just gossip all the time. Now, there's a place for that. You know, there is even a learning aspect to some forms of what's going down, what's wrong with hip-hop today as a result of that. But there's also a place where we need to shine, where we need to talk about what we need to do on all fronts of our communities. And we need to also not just talk about it, but encourage it. Building communities. Building people, man. Building people within our communities. You know, for the better. You know. But we also need to be able to talk about accountability in our communities and accountability for the people we put in office. And hold them accountable. Completely. And put in candidates, you know, if any, that you know is going to really represent your best interests. You know, and put a little funding behind it. You know, but I'm talking about real candidates, not the bullshit. Because for me, I'm rapidly losing confidence in politicians anymore. You know, my faith in politicians is rapidly waning to a point I don't even want to talk about politics anymore because it's all a bunch of bullshit. You know, it is. It's all a bunch of complete bullshit and nonsense. They're all about taking your money. They're all about shuffling your life around for the betterment of their interests, not yours. Are you listening to Obama? Because that's all you did. You shuffled around interests of some people for others and left us out in the cold. Your own people, you know, because you were manipulated into being brainwashed that, yeah, if you help those people, it's going to help out everybody else. The same trickle-down theory that Mayor Frank Jackson did when he talked about, when someone asked him about economic upturn for the rest of the community, and he just quoted as saying, hey, if it's economic boom for downtown, it would be for everybody else. How is that possible, Mr. Jackson? When you don't strategize to build economic infrastructures within the communities that surrounds downtown, not in downtown. Okay? I understand downtown needs to be an upswing in downtown, but you need to build building blocks. Building blocks, okay? You stretch it from one point to the other. You stretch it from the bottom and go to the top, right? Or you stretch it from one side of the platform to the other side. You stretch it from downtown across the communities. No. You figure, well, my work is done. Let them do the rest. Really? Really? No. You got all these factories, empty buildings, just empty, man. Just streets of empty factories. I've seen them. I know it. I've been there. I live nearby them. Many of them. Okay. Matter of fact, there was about 4 or 5 factories, including the lot where the old Huff Bakery was. not far from where I lived and grew up. All right, many of them are just empty lots now. The city, that area between where I lived at in East Cleveland and nearby East Cleveland is nothing but a fucking ghost town. Been like that for several years. It's sad. It's sad. I tell you the truth. I think one night, I don't remember. I think one night when I drove around it by myself, entire streets are dark. Okay, and that's East Cleveland. Entire neighborhoods in East Cleveland are completely dark. It's sad. I think one night I drove around there and I cried, man. Hate to see that. You know? My faith, like I said, my faith in politicians is done. There is no faith in politicians. You know? There's, you know, And until these guys stop talking the talk and walk the walk, all it's going to be is about talk and lip service and nothing else. Be the same old, same old. This is DJ Wolf, and I'm out.